Hello and welcome to Camnet TV News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present top stories in the news tonight. Government blames PF over misfortunes in the agriculture sector. A bus plunges into a stream, killing 7 people. 3 people apprehended for stealing billboard materials in broad daylight. In international news, Kenya's ruling party joins opposition coalition for presidency bid. And in sports news, Leeds United sack Argentine manager after loss to Tottenham.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, another news in detail. Patients at Kalingalinga Clinic and Chongwe District Hospital have urged the United Party for National Development UPND administration to prioritize the provision of medicine in health facilities. In interviews with Camnet News, the patients have wondered why 58 years after independence, patients should continue walking away with prescriptions of medicines which some cannot even afford to buy. They have cited recent reports such as the Auditor General and the Financial Intelligence Center FIC reports, which indicate that the country has been losing millions to corruption while ordinary citizens are struggling to access medicines in hospitals. More in this report.
Improving health care lies at the core center of every country as one way of ensuring sustainable development by bringing up a healthy and productive population. While Zambia has made significant strides in some areas towards Vision 2030 of ensuring good health and well-being for all, the lack of medicine in public hospitals still remains a plague across the country for many years now. When visiting a public hospital, it is not uncommon to be sent home with a prescription requiring that one should buy the medicine, which has become a concern, especially with the current poverty levels, which stand at over 50% of the population, according to the World Bank. A check at some health facilities around the country, namely Kalingalinga Clinic and Chongwe District Hospital, found that this is still the situation.
Kulibe bantu wakabwera ku hospital pena ngunu kubalembera pepa kuti
nzina dwalapo akutinga potunda paja kuchosa mitundo zizochoka ready kuti zili mixed na blood so mine naenda clinic kupimisa nanuza to matenda ya dwala ni yaso but pena naenda kuja mkwala sina pesa ati ziliko nango nembera chaga tionde ugule mkwala and mkwala wenze too much very expensive so that yakutero kuti nkokwani sandrama sina kwanise kugula buno so tenza pepa ku government kuti mkwala mstita ndizirako kutsakira ma clinics zinkara mo zonse zokwana because matenda ena ngo muntu ungafe ngati drama za kuvutako so government zitandi zileko naenda natengako minkwala ya msanga but no sinini ashiwa kutika pena vinapola kozi vamsanga kai sunga pime sivina club kuti uzirotuka mwapaso uzapola rusuna pola so mwena mwera ibonde mwena sira nazo tika pena napola olokwanyi pati mtundo sisi
president wa utari sagira tandizo lubwera kunoba kutumiza kwina katika gule mkwala ni change iri pati manja hapo kuna change oneki kulingana mwita tujira government mkwala ziando kwezi kabisa
nzinaenda kuchongwe clinic kuja na peza kulibe mankwala banza direct ngwe pachongwe hospital then kuno na peza ko ya mozi mankwala enangu banuza kuti nikagule so simiziva tandizo wa government kuti ni abwanji wamene wanga titandizile ko si wonse mene wamapesikana ndrama kuti bakazigula mankwala then ise monga ise tabena ngumsewana wa masiye then tizambo chitabwanji so temporary government utilanganeko pa mankwala.
Reports such as the Auditor General and the Financial Intelligence Center, on the other hand, have been indicating that millions of public funds were pocketed at the expense of the well-being of citizens. In February 2021, there was a discovery of expired medicine that had not been distributed to hospitals by the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA, despite health facilities lacking medicine. The citizens have called for all the gaps to be quickly closed in order to restore sanity to the health sector and prevent unwarranted deaths. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Residents of Lusaka's Kamanga Foxdale have claimed that they have had no water since July of 2021. The resident who spoke to Camnet News Sunday lamented that they are moving long distances to access water and that those who have the commodity are charging them. They have since called on the area member of parliament, who is also Minister of Water and Sanitation Development, Mike Mposha, to come to their aid as promised during the campaigns prior to the August 12 general election. More in the following report.
These water taps in Lusaka's Kamanga Foxdale area of Munali constituency have had no drop of water since July of 2021. This has been forcing residents of the area to move several kilometers in search of the very important commodity which they have been deprived of. The residents who spoke to Camnet News now wants the area member of parliament, who is also Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Mike Mposha, to keep his campaign promise of bringing water to the area.
No water for the past 7 months. We need our honorable MP, Mike Mposha, to come and visit us. Why going in the provinces when he can't solve his own problem? English says charity begins at home. Honorable Mposha, we want you to solve our problem before we start touring the whole Zambia. For other information, like in my case, I've even bought a wheelbarrow and some drums.
By water for almost 6 months, water doesn't come to our taps. What we normally do is we just get the guys to go and fetch for water for us. That side down, we pay for the guys. If he fetches like 6 buckets or 7, we give him like 10 kwacha, 12 kwacha. So I'm appealing to our MP to come to our area here, to come and visit us, to see the problem we're facing of water.
The residents have also complained that despite the area not receiving water for 7 months, water bills have continued to be issued by the Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company, adding that they have been paying bills for the water they do not have.
They are receiving bills every month, and those bills we are paying. We have records here, we have paid those bills. We don't own the Lusaka Water and Sewerage any money. We are paying bills, but we have no water. We are fetching water from far places, and we are paying for that water, which means we are paying twice. Come to our aid. We can't be paying for water which we don't see. Our taps are dry. Complained to the councillor, we have made calls to the councillor, nothing is happening. So we are tired, we need an assistance from the MP himself. We voted in the New Dawn government. Mr. Mposha is the MP for this area.
Water is a very important commodity which should be readily available and accessible to the people of Zambia if the country is to win the fight against diseases such as cholera and typhoid. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Police in Lusaka have apprehended 3 unknown people suspected to be behind the theft of billboard materials in Lusaka's Kapolonga township. The suspects were caught in the act by members of the general public, and their attempt to flee this crime scene failed. The incident happened Sunday, 27 February 2022 at the premises of Hilltop Hospital in the afternoon. The suspects pretended to own the billboards, and they were in the process of decommissioning it, but the mission was unsuccessful. More in this report.
On Sunday, a day when most Christians go to worship or relax at home in anticipation of Monday, well, these people opted to take advantage of the seemingly lack of security to engage in some dubious activities. But luck was not in their favor. In the onset of the rainy season, the country witnessed the falling of billboards due to heavy rains, but now there comes a trend of stealing billboards whose materials, especially iron, fetches at a good price on the market. This is Lusaka Central Constituency in Kablonga Township at Hilltop Hospital, where the suspects opted to steal billboards belonging to A1 in broad daylight, pretending to own the billboards. Alert members of the general public at Hilltop Hospital and passers-by observed the suspicious behavior that was portrayed by the suspects. But the owners were alerted of the incident and rushed to the scene to interrogate the fake owners.
I never said that I don't. I said that they said they work for the. So how do I know it? You see that? I haven't done it. Because the staff is
one of them was the driver. The driver narrated that he was only hired for a service to deliver a consignment to someone who wanted to buy steel.
The owner of the counter, where is it? He's here. No, let him drive.
The third suspect, who had attempted to flee the crime scene after sensing danger, landed in the arms of the private security officers. While we were at the scene of the incident, police apprehended the three suspects who, according to information availed to us, they were taken to Woodlands Police Station. But by broadcast time, police had not yet responded to a query concerning the matter. However, such incidents must be put to a halt by improving monitoring by law enforcement agencies and local authorities before the situation worsens. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
An economist, Yusuf Dodia, has called on the United Party for National Development (UPND) administration to come up with a deliberate financial policy aimed at helping companies operating locally to grow so that they can provide employment opportunities for the local people. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Dodia notes that the growth of most companies is hindered by the high interest rates from the banks as well as high collateral, which hinders them from attaining finances. He notes that this is the only way that citizens will have access to employment opportunities, as they cannot all be employed into the civil service, looking at the limited available employment opportunities in this sector. More in this report.
The key role that the private sector plays in development cannot be overemphasized, as it acts as an agent of change and complements government efforts in achieving the sustainable development goals which are set for 2030. Apart from providing employment opportunities for citizens, this sector contributes to tax revenues as well as the delivery of goods and services across the country. Key among the constraints facing this sector is access to finance, which hinders the ability to expand and offer more services, as well as provide more employment opportunities. In an interview, economic analyst Mr. Yusuf Dodia notes that as a main partner in development, there should be policies to ease the burden of accessing finance for these companies, as the same is also negatively affecting small and medium enterprises.
So for many businesses, this becomes very, very difficult to borrow because they don't have the collateral, especially the small and medium enterprises. The large enterprises have to put a huge amount of property on the table in order to have adequate collateral to borrow. And this is a phenomena of our banking system. Now, there's nothing that government can do to physically fix it. The only thing government can do is to invite more competition into the financial sector. A lot more banks can come and be promoted to register. Other non-banking financial services should be able to come on board. Some which are even banking financial services but more small scale should come on board, so that the competition within the financial sector is the one that will result in better conditions for customers who want to borrow from the bank.
The economic analyst has advised banks to consider applying risk management, stating that this is more helpful for business owners than collateral.
So risk management becomes much more important in an economy where you can't get collateral. And our banks in Zambia are very weak on risk management. They don't have enough personnel. You find that in agriculture, the entire bank will only have 2 or 3 officers that know something about agriculture. Whereas in Western countries, they would have 10 to 20 agriculture risk managers in every province. With Zambia, we are not seeing that. So our banks are not geared to do risk management. They are very much geared to get collateral and say, if this person doesn't pay, no problem, We grab their property and we sell it. Risk management requires the banks to maybe add 10 times more staff than they have today, because they need staff who can manage agriculture risk, who can manage manufacturing risk, who can manage mining risk, who can manage risks in tourism. And these are all officers that must have different kinds of skills to be able to handhold their customers who have been given loans and help them to become successful in their businesses, and that's how they manage the risk. So
he adds that there is need to support the viability of the private sector, as government alone cannot provide all the needs of the Zambian people. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Minister of Agriculture Mutolo Piri has blamed the previous administration for the misfortunes being witnessed in the agriculture sector. Mr. Piri has explained that all the 6 suppliers of farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program (FISP) were contracted by the PF and that they just inherited the problem. He regrets that Neria investment has let down the government and the farmers in Eastern Province by allegedly failing to deliver the inputs on time. Nyimba, Petauke and Chipangali are among the affected districts in Eastern Province. The minister says the United Party for National Development (UPND) is doing everything possible to overcome the problems allegedly caused by the PF.
The 2021-2022 farming season has not been in favor of some farmers in Eastern Province due to the delayed supply of some farming inputs. Among those affected are farmers under the Farmers Input Support Program in Chipangali district of Eastern Province, having planted their seeds with the hope that they were going to receive fertilizer on time.
Matandoro yano ya Mveka naise nisema Zambians mwene muliri mazambians simamene aha so manje nichakuti ino yamene wiki kufikira pa Thursday katundu muzamba kuiona kuchipangali.
Assurances could not come to pass, and we spoke to Minister of Agriculture Mutolo Piri, who explained that Neria Investment, the company mandated to supply fertilizer in the area, has been engaged on several occasions.
I had also time to look at maize in some of these areas. In some of the areas, the maize is sometimes even less than knee-high, meaning that farmers could still apply the fertilizers. We have another window of maybe 2 weeks or so which they could use. So within this period, we shall up our game to talk to them and see what they can do. But overall, the overall position is that the situation which Neria has put us in is absolutely unfortunate and a very big disruption to the government program. That is undoubtedly the case and irrefutably the case, which is most unfortunate. Probably they could have been given a very huge quantity to supply, and it gave them problems. To supply 135,000 metric tons is quite a task. That's quite a job. That is huge tonnage. And going forward, we don't see ourselves ever giving one particular company that type of tonnage.
Mr. Piri has however blamed the previous administration for the misfortunes witnessed in the agriculture sector, saying that all the 6 suppliers under the FISP program were contracted by the Patriotic Front PF government and that they just inherited the problem.
Now, as much as it is absolutely undesirable on my part to do, but it is important for the public to know that what we are solving is a problem which we found. It would be wrong for us to be, labored with this issue, and sometimes as I move in the districts, I do receive some very negative talk against us, that this is not what you promised. People are interested in fertilizers, but the truth is this is a doing of the PF government. They are the ones who contracted these 6 suppliers. We have not contracted any supplier. We have just been dealing with the 6 suppliers that we found.
The minister says the United Party for National Development government is doing everything possible to overcome the problem caused by the PF.
And, when you take over power, you take over assets and abilities. You take over good and bad. And for me in the ministry, this is just unfortunate because we're taking over a very, very painful, situation. Very, very painful because it is affecting people's lives. You see the farmers, you see the sorrow on their face, you see the anguish on their face. It's absolutely, hurting for people to go through what they're going through.
Well, they say delaying the farming imports is tantamount to preparing for a poor harvest. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
6th Republican President Edgar Lungu has encouraged congregants at Reformed Church in Zambia RCZ Kamala branch to continue their effort to ensure that the construction of the multi-purpose hall project is completed. Mr. Lungu, who was guest of honor at the welcoming ceremony of Reverend Francis Mbao, who has been transferred from RCZ Chifubu congregation in Ndola to RCZ Kamala congregation in Lusaka, has also encouraged members of the church to support the new reverend in ensuring the project is completed. The former head of state says the Christian faith is based on true love, forgiveness and humility. This was contained in a speech read on his behalf by leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile.
The Christian faith is based on true love, forgiveness, and humility. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7 reads, and I quote, "For if one does not love, they do not know God." End of quote. The Bible quotes John 3:16, stating, and I quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." End of quote. To my brother in Christ, Reverend Francis Mbao, I have seen the advancement in the construction of the multi-purpose hall, a project which was actualized in 2017 after 24 years since the decision to embark on the project was made. Let me encourage you, the congregants, to continue your effort to see to it that the project is completed under the new Reverend.
Healing Word Ministries International Church Pastor Moses Chilwa says there is need to ensure that Zambians benefit from tenders for various projects, stating that currently foreigners are the ones mainly benefiting from the tenders. Speaking during the main Sunday service, Pastor Chilwa notes that this has disadvantaged locals who are supposed to be first priority in such projects in order to improve their livelihoods. He has also emphasized the need to ensure that ongoing investigations on corruption are also carried out on foreigners, stating that the same have been focused on Zambians.
Is it justified, Mike, for Lebanese to prosper more than you and me? Are they more intelligent than we Zambians? Is it in order, government after government, big tenders, they go to foreigners? Zambians don't have tenders. Those who have tenders from the governments, when one president goes, another one will come and investigate them. We only investigate ourselves. We don't investigate foreigners. You see how quiet you are? Which world did you live in? Right now, I am seeing what UPND is doing. They are doing a good job following people by name. I am yet to see Lebanese to join that line. And the Chinese. They've done atrocities in this nation. They've constructed roads which were not worth it. Pick the ones who gave them tenders and put the Chinese on the line. Are you hearing? Because when you pick the Zambians one by one, yes, you cripple Zambians. Where will the money go? It will go back to Kwanzu, and you'll be importing from there.
Congregants at the African Methodist Episcopal Bethel Church Kawata branch in Lusaka have welcomed the reinstatement of the church Reverend Suzanne Matale, who was suspended for unknown reasons. The church members have told Camnet News in an interview that the reinstatement of Reverend Matale has restored order in the church after several months of protests by church members. The church members have expressed confidence that there will no longer be any disputes in the church going forward. More in this report.
For several months, confusion was witnessed in the African Methodist Episcopal Bethel Church Kawata branch in Lusaka after the church council decided to suspend the presiding church Reverend Susanna Matale for unknown reasons. During her suspension, several attempts were made to reinstate a new church leader, which the church members rejected.
One way, as the PE of African Methodist, how is it going to help when you're not listening to what the church wants? Look at this church. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who came with them?
Our request is that, Dad, please hear to our cry and let's sort out this issue once and for all.
However, the church council, after holding several meetings, have decided to drop all charges labeled against Reverend Matale and have reinstated her back as the church leader. This development has excited the church members who believe justice has been served.
We shall thank God for the new generation of leaders. We know that the future is bright because we've seen the people that stood up and voiced in the midst of tribes. We even thank those who were perpetrating the adversities, because without them we shall not know whether we are true Christians or not. To them we say thank you very much.
For the daughter of the soil, there too there is a daughter and a son where they are seated there, who were suspended, thrown wire, for winning the battle against all dark forces, and they finally won.
And those spoken to by Camnet TV could not hide their joy.
Oh, I'm just so grateful to God. My mood is lifted. At least we can praise the Lord, we can pray peacefully now. I'm so happy to be here today.
When we started this fight, we thought we were not going to win. But God has seen us through, and we have reached the end. We have won, and as you can see, there are a lot of tribulations because justice has been served. Our pastor is back. All the charges that were concocted upon her have actually been dropped. She's a free person.
So the Judicial Council has finally given us her back to say all the charges that were laid against her, those people didn't follow the due process of the church, the procedures of the discipline, of our discipline. So that's why we are here, and the other members have come to support us and to celebrate this day with us.
And Reverend Matale has thanked the church members for the support rendered to her during the period she was on suspension.
I'm glad that all those charges that were slapped on me have now been removed, have been vindicated. And the reception that I have received in this church is overwhelming. I didn't imagine that people would be so happy to see me again, because now I've been fully restored. I can do all my priestly duties with joy and with gladness.
And has encouraged the church members to continue showing love to one another. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet TV News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
You know I can take her a break.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You read me?
Not just any kind of insurance.
but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 12th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid, and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Vice President Mutalina Lumango has dispelled social media reports purporting that government wants to legislate bigamy. The Vice President stated that government cannot legislate that law because Zambia is a Christian nation and it will always remain like that. She emphasized that what the law reformist proposed was a removal of bigamy from the Penal Code Act and not the Marriage Act. Ms. Nalumango described it as unfortunate that opposition leaders want to politicize the issue by blowing it out of context. The Vice President said this today when she officiated at the Reformed Church of Zambia RCZ Silverest Congregation Indication Service in Chongwe Sunday. The Vice President has, however, commended RCZ for the continued spirit of working with government by preaching love and peace. Ms. Nalumango stated that RCZ has also continued to supplement government's efforts in the education and health sector, which she said needs to be commended. And Reformed Church of Zambia RCZ Synod Moderator Action Banda said the RCZ is a non-partisan church but will continue to work with the government of the day in a bid to serve the people. Operation Young Vote OYV Executive Director Ges Nyirenda believes continuous voter education will help in enhancing the country's democracy, as citizens will be well informed on what role they play in the country's governance process. In an interview, Mr. Nyirenda has cited the 2021 general elections, which saw presidential ballots recording a total of 126,569 rejected ballots, stating that this could have arisen from poor voter education. The Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ recently announced its intentions of carrying out continuous voter registration and is currently considering continuous voter education.
We are really of the view that ECZ must commence continuous voter education. We know that there are plans to do continuous voter registration, which the law mandates. But then we want to say that that must be coupled or go hand in hand with voter education. Continuous. We say so because just concentrating the voter education around elections, we see that people do not really understand what should be done or what to do. Hence, we have so many spoiled ballot papers, so many rejected ballot papers, and just people get disinterested in participating. We have so much apathy because people have not been engaged, to make them understand their role their role and duty in terms of them participating in an election. So ECZ must ensure that that is done. But also, even ourselves as civil society organizations, we must plan and strategize on how best we can conduct continuous voter education. And we appeal to our cooperating partners to see this as a very important aspect of people's participation in the processes that we have in our governance and electoral process.
7 people have died, while 29 others, including the driver, have survived with serious injuries after a bus in which they were traveling in plunged into a stream in Mpika district. Deputy Police Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the accident occurred Saturday evening at around 21:30 hours when a driver identified as Musa Andrew, aged 53, of Kitwe, lost control of the Nico Motorways bus and in the process careered off the road and plunged into a stream, killing 7 people on the spot. Mr. Mwale says police, working together with officers from the Zambia National Service and Fire Brigade, are trying to retrieve the 3 other bodies which are reported to be still trapped in the wreckage of the Scania Marco Polo bus. Mr. Mwale also says all the injured victims are admitted to Chilonga Mission Hospital, while the bodies of 4 victims have been deposited in the hospital mortuary awaiting identification. This is Camnet TV News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The 3rd Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 12th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration, 13 hours. Kick-off, 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back. And now in international news, President Uhuru Kenyatta on Saturday said his party had joined an opposition coalition ahead of presidential and parliamentary elections in August in a bid to clean up politics of crooks. The announcement came after Kenyatta's anointed successor, William Ruto, who wants to contest the presidential election, was sacked from the ruling Jubilee Party. Ruto was initially anointed by Kenyatta as his successor, but found himself marginalized after AK4's Kenyatta and Odinga announced a truce in 2018. Meanwhile, Russia has stepped up its military assault with its troops entering Ukraine's second biggest city. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga celebrate a new official coalition between their parties, the ruling Jubilee Party and the Orange Democratic Movement, just months ahead of crucial elections. Even though Kenyatta is unable to run for a third term, he says he's looking to clean up politics of crooks. Raila is not a government project. Raila is not Uhuru's project. Since Raila didn't ask anything from me when he came to join my government, when I was in need, I'm not going to ask anything from Raila. I only want good leadership for our country. This year's contest is shaping up the two-horse race between Ruto and Raila, the mainstay of Kenya's politics from the Luo community. Ruto was initially anointed by Kenyatta as his predecessor, but found himself marginalized after ash vows. Kenyatta and Odinga announced a truce in 2018.
To restore the soul and secure the future of Kenya. We are all agreed that whatever the rhetoric, the economic model, the technology we adopt, or the number of votes we win at an election, the only thing that will make the ultimate difference in the life of our people is unity.
With its diverse population and ethnic voting blocs, elections in Kenya have often been marred by violence. The rapprochement between Odinga and Kenyatta come after post-election fighting in 2017 left dozens of people dead. The pair unsuccessfully tried to introduce sweeping constitutional changes as a way to end repeated cycles of election violence.
Ukraine's second biggest city, now the latest front line in the war with Russia. Street battles are now underway after Russian tanks and troops moved into Kharkiv on Sunday, some of their hardware destroyed in fierce fighting. People have been told not to leave their homes, but not just because of the military advance. Ukraine says Russian forces blew up this pipeline nearby, and people have been warned to keep inside to protect themselves from the toxic smoke. The blast in the pipeline in Kharkiv happened during a wave of Russian attacks on airfields and oil and gas facilities. Analysts say this is a new phase in the invasion. Russian troops are trying to take over the Vasilkiv airbase, where an oil depot is on fire after being hit by a Russian missile. The site is 40 kilometers from the capital, Kyiv.
You have seen that during the whole day there were attacks from ballistic missiles, including to our airport, which we have contained, and now they are continuing shelling. But all will be good. The night will not be easy, not here, neither in Kyiv, but we will withstand.
Air raid sirens have been sounding throughout Kyiv, where there have been loud explosions. People are crowding into shelters and metro stations below ground. Fears of an all-out assault on the city haven't yet materialised, and a curfew's in place until Monday morning. But Russia maintains it has made advances into and around several cities in the south. Its defence ministry released these pictures of its forces between Kherson and Berdyansk.
I pay special tribute to those heroically performing their military duty during this special operation to provide assistance to the People's Republic of Donbass these days.
The Kremlin said a Russian delegation had arrived in Belarus for talks with Ukrainian officials, a move rejected by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
If you didn't have these aggressive actions from your territory, we could have talked in Minsk, in your town. This is the truth. That's the situation to talk between neighbors. And now you have made your choice. It depends on you. That's why now we are saying no to Minsk. Other places could be a springboard for talks. We want to talk. We want to meet to end this war.
Zelensky has accused the Russians of deliberately choosing tactics to hurt his people in a conflict that's already displaced 250,000 of them. Alexia O'Brien, Al Jazeera.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, head coach Marcelo Bielsa has been sacked by Leeds United after a run of poor form that saw his side suffer several heavy defeats. The 66-year-old Argentine, appointed in June 2018, lives with the Whites 2 points above the relegation zone. Under Bielsa, Leeds finished 9th last season on their return to the Premier League after a 16-year absence. But Saturday's 4-0 defeat by Tottenham meant they had lost their past 4 games by an aggregate score of 17-2. After they lost in the playoffs to Derby in the 2018-2019 season, Bielsa's team was promoted as champions in July 2020 when the following season restarted after the coronavirus pandemic. To end Camnet TV News, we'll take a look at stories making headlines once again. Government blames PF over misfortunes in the agriculture sector. A bus plunges into a stream, killing 7 people. 3 people apprehended for stealing billboard materials in broad daylight. In international news, Kenya's ruling party joins opposition coalition for presidency bid. And in sports news, Leeds United sack Argentine manager after loss to Tottenham. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of Proverbs 21, verse 21 to 22. The one who pursues righteousness and faithful love will find life, righteousness, and honor. A wise person went up against a city of warriors and brought down its secure fortress. Thank you for watching Camnet TV News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.